Welcome, welcome everyone. Human Garage, we're live. EMF Talk, that's right. Let's get it going, you guys. Justin Frandson here, founder of EMF Rocks, everyone's favorite grounding bags. Help you sleep better, yes, up to 60%, deeper sleep. We keep getting great calls from docs. I just had Dr. Toby Watkinson out of San Diego, and then his friend Dr. Dan called, and they've been besties for years. And Dan's like, why haven't you told me about these? These are incredible. He's getting more clarity in his testing. He's a muscle tester. So when he tests, he can get better readings. It's just clearing everything up for him, which is really cool. So guys, this stuff works so well, and we want to introduce you to our products and share with you about the physics behind it and how we interplay with our environment. And today, it is, I have a feeling we're going to have a great guest. We'll see if it all pans out, but that's the word on the street, so stay tuned. And get them at humangarage.net. We're a brand partner, so they resell our products. Get them on athleticism.com. Get them on emfrocks.com. Get them at your local chiropractic doctor's office, mostly chiros. Get them at different conferences. We'll be at Dr. Artis's conference in September. We'll be at a bunch of other ones, Dr. Charlie Fagenholz's conference as well. And we will get them, you can get them, we'll be at Dr. Patrick Porter's conference in Vegas. In Arizona, well, it was Dr. Diane Kaiser, but she just moved, I believe, to be with her man. So let's see. Yeah, there's lots of great people that you can get the products through and dive into it. So, welcome everybody. Tell us where you're from. And I'm in Southern California. Orange County. Our office is in Costa Mesa. We are Costa Mesa bound, and then also spent a lot of time at the beach in the water. Toronto, you guys, Ohio. Love it. NorCal, fantastic. Appreciate you guys coming in from everywhere and your awareness to raise the consciousness of it. Another Bay Area. There we go. There's a community up there. I like it. And let's see, new studies show these sheets act as antennas. Yeah, that's cool. I'm kind of glad to hear you say that. Thank you for that. Jump online. I'd love to talk with you too. I've been saying that the grounding sheets are just, it's not as good as what everyone's touting as. Even though a meter might read electrons coming through, there's other stuff going on. So I'm not into grounding sheets at all, you guys. Not into them at all. The earthing component is the purest. That's what you got to go. You got to go to nature's resonance. And the only way to get it is through hand-mined crystals. That's it. They're alive. They have moisture and magnetic properties in them. They have been compressed from an underground water source for years. That's it, you guys. That's what's going on. It's just nature's resonance in a bag. There's nothing modified. We do put it in a silver static bag to amplify it. Something physics-wise is just wild, which I kept questioning over and over again. One of the doctors kept telling me it was true, but why do the grounding bags work better inside of there than outside? And it's because it amplifies it. So in physics, you put a negative ionic charge like the Earth's surface inside of a Faraday bag, it amplifies it and basically balances out that frequency for it. If you put a negative ionic charge, a positive ionic charge, like the polarizing charge of a cell phone, into a static bag like this, what it does is it squashes that signal to safe level. So your phone will be squashed down to safe level. So you'll muscle test stronger. You can even call someone, your phone's ringing inside there, a test strong. Pretty incredible stuff. So that's what we have going on with these. So anyhow, they're nature's residents in a bag. And that's the best way to protect yourself from EMF toxicity. So I'm looking for some special guests here. Let me jump on real quick and see. We're going to accept this. Might take up the whole time. So, big name guy too. We'll see if he comes on today. Hello. This is funny. We are in a shower. Some people, man, I tell you, not really connected to this, but they want to be. So anyhow, you guys, I kind of dove into the topic of Tom Cowan and the contagion myth and the grounding bags, how they help create that coherence because it's all our environment. And so he's the guy that's going to come on one of these days, maybe today. And yeah, we'll keep an eye out for him, but it's Dr. Cowan's Garden, Dr. Tom Cowan, Talking Turkey with Tom Cowan. You could find him on different platforms. So that's the guy that kind of broke this whole story loose to everyone. So he's at a medical conference and he said, hey, if you're studying dolphins and they all get sick, are you going to say to that dolphin, give that dolphin a virus? Well, doctors raise their hands, but then he's like, nah, it's actually if someone pollutes the environment, that's when they're all going to get sick. And so it made a lot of sense to everyone. It made a lot of sense to everyone. So that is the messaging that we're talking about that we want to share with everyone. So it's all about your environment and how you interplay with your environment. And you have this internal environment in your body, the ecosystem of what you're eating. Like Zach Bush will say, glyphosate's the number one stressor internally. Well, yeah, that might be true because we're eating a lot of crappy foods. But I would say it's more EMFs because of Bruce Lipton says is you have to have the chi to have the chemistry in your body. And so if your chi is affected, then your chemistry is affected. So therefore, if EMFs are broadcasting affects your chi, then it affects the chemistry in your body. How it breaks, it's up to that person's chemistry. But yes, it is all about the environment externally, I feel. And then you got to look at the whole spectrum, like internal environment too. So bioterrain is huge, way greater than germ theory. And I had a conversation, it was so wild. I always test conversations and I had just a harmless conversation with some guy, and he's from Idaho, and I was thinking he was more into the leaning towards our beliefs than the others, and he didn't. And so it was so funny because I'm like, hey, I had no expectations from him. I had no ego attached. I'm just sharing this information. Like our bodies are electric, and we're built on viruses, fungus, and bacteria, and we wouldn't be here without them. So this is pretty 101 stuff. Like vaccines weren't around 140 years ago. This is all new. So yeah. So I'm just kind of confused why you think they're the savior of everything. And then he's like, oh, well, polio this and this and this. And I'm like, well, just follow Highwire, Del Bigtree, follow his books that he's written, follow Robert Kennedy Jr. and Children's Health Defense.org. They've litigated against this stuff for centuries, like decades, I should say, three decades of litigation against this stuff. Read books from Tom Cowan, Andrew Kaufman. I mean, the list goes on and on as far as medical doctors that are coming out. Jeff Barkey, I'll have him on as well. He's got a concierge practice here in Newport Beach, and he just wrote a book, something about what was his book? I forget what the name of it, but we'll get him on as well. Yes, read The Invisible Rainbow, Arthur Furstenberg, who categorizes all this stuff. But you guys, there's just tons of resources on how our environment disrupts us. And the key thing that it disrupts is our fascia, because that's our intelligence of our body. So if our fascia is dehydrated, then the whole body's going to be dehydrated. And then your cellular level is going to be dehydrated. So that's kind of the biggest thing that we want to really look at on this stuff. So that is where we're at with this whole environmental toxin conversation, to understand how we interplay with our environment, because our environment is something that can allow us to thrive. It can chip away at our health really quickly. It can be a slow cook process. And ever since we introduced electricity in the homes, this influenza, they called it the influence of the stars, was here to stay. It wasn't from the stars anymore when there were solar shifts or atmospheric pressure shifts. It was from the actual electricity in our homes, these electrical boxes that weren't wired properly and grounded properly. So Arthur Furstenberg wrote The Invisible Rainbow. Let me see, I'm looking up which author. I'm trying to follow the feed here, guys, as we're talking, because I know there's a couple guys that are kind of into this whole topic. If it's a biodynamic being, then jump on with us. And we'd love to connect and talk about all this intangibles and Ibrahim Karim's work as well. That's what it's all about. So these are the intangibles in our environment. So when we start to understand that, we'll understand our body will be affected by it. And if it's at night when you're sleeping, the reason it's affected is because our brainwave states are lower and slower. So our brain goes to default to see what's pinging it. So that's why if there's a solar flare or cosmic shift, our REM patterns are disrupted and we don't get in a deeper sleep. The full moons, all this stuff, it cosmically changes our energy a lot of times because it's so powerful in this electromagnetic atmosphere of a blanket. So our REM patterns are disrupted. Then our REMs are disrupted, our sleep's disrupted, our hormones disrupted, we feel crappy the next day because we didn't get deep sleep. It's the same concept of if you have your Wi-Fi router going on all night. Wi-Fi's pinging, pinging, pinging. Your brain defaults to figure out what's pinging it at that bandwidth, and it goes into a twilight sleep. It doesn't go into that deep restorative sleep. So it's kind of crazy how we're looking at all this stuff. And then if you break that down even further, let's break it down even further, you talk about the speed of the wavelengths. Because we can measure our EEG, measure our brainwave state when we're sleeping. Everything's measured in wave forms, wavelengths. The speed of those wavelengths, we're going to quantify it into a wave per second. It's because everyone can grasp that. So when we're sleeping, our brain's in a delta or theta brainwave state. That's 1 or below 1 to 8 hertz or waves per second. So when we're in the alpha flow state and we can't miss, we're in the zone, we're 8 to 13 hertz or waves per second. That's really low and slow. The Schumann resonance, the healing pulse of the earth, is 7.83 hertz or waves per second. 7, you guys, 7.8. And it varies with different seasons and such, or activities of EMFs that they're broadcasting out and about. It changes stuff. But those are typical speed of wavelengths that our brain waves are at and the pulse of the earth's at. So that's why we do really well getting grounded by nature, because it feeds us. It feeds our body battery, our capacitor, to pull in the resonances of nature to help heal, hydrate, nourish, remineralize, relight, give that flashlight, just brighten those senses up so we get more light into our light body. And then to the contrary, these cell phones are 2.45 billion waves per second. That's the minimum bandwidth of a cell phone. They talked about the Bluetooth being megahertz, which is they measure the speed of the wavelength in the millions of waves per second. So if you have something like that, that's going to be in the millions of waves per second. But then the gigahertz is in the billions of waves per second. So 2.45 billion waves per second is a 4G. A 5G 60 to 90 gigahertz, or 60 to 90 billion waves per second. Wow. Telecom can go up to 300 gigahertz, 300 billion waves per second, right? So that's where we're at with all this stuff, you guys. Pretty incredible. And if they can go up to 300 gigahertz, we're not even fully at 5G yet, but maybe Wuhan was the first place they kind of turned it up, and then the whole world was like, what's going on, for a few years. That's a pretty daunting future that we have in front of us. This isn't going away. This stressor of electromagnetic radiation at the highest level is not going away. Yeah, the hertz in electricity, they're 50 to 60 about, or if they can get it a little lower, that's great. But that's what those milligauss meters read. Those are the ranges that they read for just electricity in your homes and the lighting of your homes. So, and then when we're in a more gamma or more awake beta state, we rev into closer to those bandwidths as well in the more awake alert state. So that lower speed of the brainwave state is where our bodies rev and where we do really well with. And it takes a long time to get us out of it. But the only reason electricity is stressor is not because of the speed of it. It's because it's a one-directional polarizing wave. It's just different. It's a different waveform than what we're used to. Is there any legitimate medical research that proves EMFs are harmful? If you're living with someone arguing with you, yes. Shame on them for arguing with you. There's thousands of studies, you guys. Go to bioinitiative.org. They've done thousands of studies, and they've come up with what they say are safe levels of basically milligauss and levels that should be 1 or below. And then the GS units, the Stetzer electric units, amps to volts, should be reading on that meter 50 or below for kids. The acoustimeters that convert into microwatts per meter squared should read 100 or below. You put the phone out next to it, it meters them out. So if they don't understand math and simple numbers, like what's a bigger number than another number, then we can defer to bioinitiative.org, children'shealthdefense.org, Highwire, Del Bigtree's site. You can go on to any of the health organizations out there. So type in here. I'll do it real quick so you can see. Hang on. I gotta get my battery going here, or it's gonna die. So you can type in just EMF studies. So EMF, harmful. EMF studies. So the NIH, that's what I was looking for, is the NIH. And you go on to NIH and there's dozens of studies on there. Look at Tom Cowan in my video, and he's got a whole list of them. There's cellphonetaskforce.org, has multiple sites. It's basically bioinitiative.org was the main one. Cellphonetaskforce.org is another one. Children'shealthdefense.org is another one. Highwire.com, I believe. Del Bigtree's channel is another one. Go to just Google EMF studies and look up, and then when you're in NIH, National Institute for Health, check that out as well. Guys, there's thousands of studies that show it's a possible class 2B carcinogen. So, and the reason they say it's possible is because our government set procedural levels in 1996. It said if something's ionizing, that's the only time it's harmful. And they're saying now we could go up to, that's about 300 gigahertz is crazy big number. That's unbelievable. So they say that that's the only time someone will get elevated, but then there's these warnings at every cell tower, stay away from it, it's high voltage. Well, if high voltage is so bad for you, like why are we allowed to go up to 300 gigahertz? Why are we putting laptops with batteries on them over our reproductive organs? I mean, the stuff is it's just brainwashing you guys. Yeah, children'shealthdefense.org, Highwire, Del Bigtree, yes, that's his company. He's done so much research on it. Maybe one of these days I'll jump on his channel and we'll be able to dive into it with more and give you more research. And then Arthur Furstenberg, cellphonetaskforce.org is, thank you for writing that down for the people that, because it's tough to type when I'm on this thing, because I'm on a tripod here, so it keeps it still. Invisible Rainbow, exactly. He's got thousands of studies back in his. And let me read this biodynamic being. Invisible Rainbow, 1889 was the first flu outbreak with the rollout of power lines. In 1919, flu rolled out radio waves. 32, the flu has never been proven to transmit person to person. Yeah, I mean, he correlated everything. It was, I think, 1918, 1919, that was the Spanish flu. So, and that's when they rolled out radio waves for the first time. And then it was 1889 when it was the first time they put electricity into the homes, and that's when that flu was here to stay. And because it wasn't an influence from the stars, it was an influence from our internal environment, or I should say our environment around us in our home versus something that was more of a cosmic change in our atmosphere. Like it wasn't a pressure shift change. So yeah, 3 feet away from the body for your phone for sure. I mean, they're measuring these absorption ratings. This is crazy. So the absorption ratings, that's what they do. It says to keep it, every inch away from it, there's, I forget what the ratio is, but it's way less amount of absorption. Yes, in 2020, the rollout of the fastest internet. Sorry. Came from over electrification of our planet. Obviously, it's an environment, not a virus. Virus is our adaptive system. Bacteria is adaptive system. Fungus is our adaptive systems, or we wouldn't be here, people. That's the nature of this environment and where we're on. That's where we've been lied to forever on this stuff. That's what our goal is, to teach and educate and share this information that's out there in all these different resources, like Tom Cowan's The Contagion Myth. You can pick that up on his website, drtomcowan.com, or drcowansgarden.com. He has two websites, and that is, we'll dive into it even more. But there's so many amazing doctors out there that, yes, that's out there supporting what we're saying. So yes, someone asked if EMFs feeds a mold, and that's Dr. Klinghart's work. So Dr. Klinghart talks about molds, microtoxins, parasites, fungus. Like, well, he doesn't say as much on fungus, but Dr. Todd Watts does, the founder of Cellcore. But yes, Klinghart's work shows that mold, microtoxins, parasites, they're all charged. They get charged through EMF. So if you have a router right there and you have someone that had mold and been exposed to mold, the mold's just going to go crazy in their system. It's creating a petri dish for these things to thrive. Oh, I know, you guys. I mean, this is how I got into the space. So I got into space. I work with professional athletes for almost 3 decades. So I'm a performance coach. I'm a speed coach, strength coach. I teach people how to optimize their performance and do nerve work. I teach people how to juggle. I treat concussions. I do some wild stuff with the reflexes of the body, fascia, obviously, through human garages techniques and others. And I saw our athletes breaking down from wearable technology. This was over a dozen years ago. One of the strongest, fittest athletes that came in said, "Justin, I have pain in my wrist." And I said, "Where?" And he pointed right to where his watch was. And I said, "Well, hey, take the radiation off your wrist." Because that was about the time the Fitbits were being recalled. So he takes it off and his pain went away. And so that's what got me into this whole electromagnetic space and understanding how we interplay with our environment, how we're one with nature, and how these electricity sources, the man-made ones, are so different than how we are. And to see the technology and to see these professional athletes, the sprinter, I think it was a 100-yard sprinter, he had gold teeth, which is crazy conductor and so bad for you. And then he had, well, he won the gold medal, but that doesn't mean you should have gold teeth. But I respect that sport. He was ran a fast time and ran a clean race and super impressive coordination. I marvel at the track athletes. It's one of my favorites to watch over the sports, especially at that level. But these guys he's wearing a smartwatch too. And I'm just sitting there going, man, number one, you're weakening yourself because it's radiation. Number two, you're disconnecting from God because you're looking for something to tell you how you're doing versus you knowing how you're doing. Number three, it's aggregating all your information. So it's just sending that information to AI. I don't want AI to run as fast as the fastest human in the world. I don't want to teach that. So stop, you guys. Stop giving your information away at record speeds to technology. We have to slow down the aggregation of information. If they want to have 400 cameras at the finish line, they can use technology to score things and this and that, but we don't want it in the clothing and the tracking. We don't want that stuff. Let's see. Prior to, what do you mean by adaptive system? Our bodies adapt. We have a natural system on how we adapt. And so our adaptive system is basically what we've seen, we've seen our bodies adapt in the way we know how. It's basically we produce the virus. And that's these exosomes, they're basically create a way for our bodies to detox and excrete these poisons out of our bodies so our body can go back into homeostasis. That's what an adaptive system is all about. That's what our bodies innately do, because we're designed to be healing mechanisms. So that's that. Let me scroll back here. Prior to electricity, cosmic radio sun waves were 100 million times weaker. Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. I believe that frequencies can merge with other frequencies. So just as we can convert a one-directional waveform into something that's unpolarized, you can attach a bandwidth to a frequency as well. So you can actually start to merge these frequencies. So that's why I see the fire seasons coming up for us. You're seeing starting hotter fires. So the bandwidth is picking up the electricity and carrying it. You'll see if you're closer to a nuclear power plant, these 5G system smart grids will start to pick up the bandwidths of the nuclear frequencies and start to carry them further out. So I believe I'm about 20 some miles away from San Onofre. I'm in Laguna Beach, but in the north end, fortunately, and but that still might not be far enough. This information is so important. So few people have worried about. Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. So it's kind of crazy. If these bandwidths can be carried, that's what they call the Internet of Things. They're starting to pick up and everything merges and everything connects. And we have this just one directional waveforms going on all around us. It's polarizing. And we're trying to heal, like straight up, like all of us are trying to heal. Like that's what we're doing. But I shouldn't use the word trying. We are intentionally healing our bodies. So we gotta really understand that whole cycle of how our bodies heal. Let's see, look out here. The bioelectric known as the invisible rainbow running through our veins, keeping us shuts down calcium channels. Yeah, what happens is the voltage gated calcium channels break down. So this is Dr. Martin Paul's work out of Washington State University. So they break down. Those are four big words. That's a gateway for your cells to get energy. That's what happens. So they're shut down right away. So your mitochondria is not working. You're not producing any ATP. You're not producing energy because that mechanism that allows it to produce is disrupted. So this is crazy. It's unbelievable. So from there, it's an oxidative stress. So it's messing with your cellular level just right out of the gates, you guys. The stuff is just what's going on. Prior to 1860, diabetes was so rare. Doctors saw 1 or 2 cases in the entire lifetime. Yeah, and even that, to second that, I believe in Invisible Rainbow, Arthur Furstenberg said there are maybe 6 cases of it in all of his research and all the medical books across the entire world back then, 140 years ago. He could not find 6 documented cases across the whole world. So what's happened is when we pollute our environment, it spikes our glucose level. So that's why you're seeing an increase in diabetes. It's not just from the bad food. It's from the radiation in our environment that's messing with the chemistry in our body, raising our glucose levels, and our bodies aren't able to produce the insulin to buffer it because we're just so inundated. And that's what's going on with this stuff. So that's why we have lean oil. You guys, I got to get some new batches. We're running low on this, but we have MCT oil called lean oil. It's on athleticism.com, but that'll be the purest MCT that you can help buffer your body with. So we are light beings. Light affects us more than anything. thing. And yes, definitely. So we are light beings. We're a holograph of light. So that's what we are. And we connect through light. That's how our cells communicate. And the sun is unpolarized, amazing, healthy, great light for you. Obviously, if your skin burns because you have all these chemicals in it, or you get too much of it and you're more fair skin, you don't want too much burning of your sun. So it'll dry it out quicker, all that stuff. You'll see the challenges of sun damage, but it's not the reason for skin cancer. Arguably, we can go into that whole conversation as well. I mean, I'm tanning better than I've ever tanned, looking cleaner, and I've cleaned up, all the seed oils out of my intake. So I'm not creating pockets of stuff, and I'm not really worried about getting skin cancer. So, and then I do human garages, fascial maneuvers to hydrate, and take diatomaceous earth, take Irish sea moss. I do my ozone saunas. I do my foot baths. I do the cleansing stuff. I sweat. Feels so good to sweat, you guys. I mean, come on. Give me a thumbs up if you guys sweat yesterday. Who got a dripping wet sweat yesterday? I did. Okay, that feels good. Who got into a body of water yesterday or today? Or both? I did. Okay, you guys putting in the work. I'm putting in the work, everybody. You guys got to put in the work too. It's really important. Okay, grass is good too. Body of water's favorite because it's summertime, at least it is here where I am. So that's what I like to do. The water temp is 70 degrees almost, and the waves are pumping. So today I got lots of barrels. It was fun. Let's see who's coming on. Who's coming on? Who wants to jump on? And I keep teasing you about Tom Cowan. I apologize. So I don't know why there's a disconnect there, but we will get him on. He's supposed to come on today, and he didn't. So we will make sure it happens soon, though. And I'm going to give him a lot of static. He's not really into technology that much either. So yes, yeah. Though the other thing someone says is the emotional component to it. Yeah. So when you can, that's the physics part I talked about, is you can convert these one-directional waveforms into something that's unpolarizing. So with your intent, with your chi, with your energy, that's all how we get this stuff and move past it. So if you see a cell tower, send it love and light, literally harmonize it, give it infinite love and gratitude, convert those waveforms being broadcasted out of there, and it's not going to chip away your life force. Shaolin monk, I talked to a Shaolin monk, and I asked him, I said, are you worried about, or have you seen any disruption for your guys with the cell towers they put up? Because I was watching some of his videos, and they put cell towers right next to their homes. And he said, no, it doesn't affect them. And so I'm like, what in the world? How does it not affect these guys? Well, it's because their chi is so strong, and they can just convert it, that it's not affecting them. It doesn't mean it's not great for them. It just means that these guys can do their wizardry and change it. That's what it means. So anyhow, that's where we're at, you guys. Pretty crazy stuff, don't you think? Yeah, transmuted. That's a big thing. The biogeometry is big. Ibrahim Kareem stuff's big. You can do so much transmuting of frequencies and ley lines and power vectors, and put grounding rods into a good one and put one into not so good one. Our house is so clean, and we have a transformer out front of it, if you can believe that. But you go in and put a Stetzer electric meter in it, and our GS units are a 120, which is a healthy home, which is really healthy home. My last house was 350, and I was kind of worried about it. Our MCT oil is palm kernel, not coconut. I feel it's sustainably sourced. It's cleanly distilled, so it doesn't have as many chemicals as the extraction process and the other ones. And then it is more bioavailable. I believe your body really accepts it even better. It has high C8 through SC10. It's about a 60-40 split. I think a little over 60. It's called lean oil. It's a medium chain triglyceride oil. That's what MCT stands for. It buffers your glucose spiking. It suppresses your appetite. It gets you ripped, like Jules and Troy Casey and many others. So it basically, it's fantastic for your body. It lubricates everything. It's great for your teeth and gums. You can do mouth pulling for a bit and spit it out, or you can do it for a little bit and swallow. But any pulling you do, it has to be less than a minute if you're swallowing it. How do you keep EMF levels down in your home? Well, you make sure your home's a healthy home. You got to wire it properly. That's really important. Really important. Wire it. Check the wiring. Get an electrician out there. Make sure all the outlets are grounded. Big stuff. We have outlet panels, timers on the outlets. So if there's something plugged in like a Wi-Fi router, it turns off when we're sleeping. The electrical panel itself has a timer to turn off in all the bedrooms, so there's no electricity in our bedrooms at night. How do you like them apples? So at least, several hours out of the night, we don't have electromagnetic stressors in our environment. And then in addition, we've loaded up with our grounding bags. And so our each bed has just grounding bags galore on it, not just one at the head of the bed. We've added a lot more to it. And I get lucid dreams like crazy, wake up refreshed. These are the ways that we want to literally keep our body just flying high and being able to heal. How do you do that on the timers? Well, yeah, so you guys, let's break this down. If you have a Wi-Fi in your home, it's plugged into an outlet, right? So get a timer. It's $9, maybe even if that, at a hardware store. Any timer is good. You set the timer to turn the power off between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m., whatever it is. You plug the router, that Wi-Fi, into that timer that's plugged into the outlet. Guess what? You don't have Wi-Fi when you're sleeping, and then it turns back on when you wake up. So if you work next to a Wi-Fi tower, you can do a few different things. We would recommend the grounding bags to create that coherence and protect you. Basically, it's converting those waveforms so they're not affecting you as much. You can also do a paint or tint on a wall that's directly at it. So if it's literally right outside your door, oh man, you got to block it and repel it the other way. Like straight up, do that. And that's really important. But other than that, just... yeah, that's the way to handle those situations. Repel if it's right directionally at you, and then normalize with grounding bags. 7 grounding bags clear 2,000 square feet of a home with solar. 5 grounding bags clear 2,000 square feet without solar, plus an additional 1 on or under each bed, desk, or car seat. So if you're looking to clear a desk, put it on your desk like I have right here. If you want to clear your car, put them underneath the backside of the car. At least 3 per new car now, and at least 7 per electric car. Sorry, guys, like these aren't the numbers we're just making up. These are the level of stressors are directly correlated with the amount of mass of the mind that physics-wise the Earth needs to convert those waveforms into something that are healthy for you. That's it. How much of nature's resonance do we have and can we use to convert these waveforms? If you're in a huge stressor like a Tesla, Cybertruck, what I was just on Candy Cans, he's got a Cybertruck. I'm like, you got to have at least 7 grounding bags in that thing. And that thing's way bigger than a Tesla. Those are like supercharged. It's a truck. It's basically, well, it's a Cybertruck, obviously, but the floorboard, the chassis is basically like a pickup truck. That's how big. So it's so much wider, so much bigger. It needs such a bigger batteries, multiple batteries. So you're going to need more than 7 if you want to clear. And he has a little kid too. So how do you get them to remove the smart meter and opt out and put an old meter in? The old meters are called analog meters. So you want to opt out. You can call your gas and electric company, opt out of it. Super simple. And just say, hey, I want to opt out of my smart meter. And they don't even ask why. If they do, it's for privacy, not for health. But it doesn't matter. In California, they just will change it. Or actually, in the US, they'll change it. So, it's kind of easy. You call them and you say, I want to opt out of it. In the US, it's pretty easy, I found, in most states. And you tell them it's for privacy. And it's they'll be legally obligated to do it for privacy. If you tell them for health, they won't do it, but for health, they will. They have to. Look up the documentary movie, Take Back Your Power by Josh Del Sol. That'll tell you all about it. Take Back Your Power documentary movie. You can search it online, Google it, it's free, or use Brave, use a different search engine. But it's cool. It makes your home a healthier home. You don't have a cell tower on your home. That's a really important thing. These smart meters act like cell towers on the home. They're receiving, they're transmitting. It's just not a great thing. And they've chinched out on hiring workers to meter stuff, and now they're automating everything. Orange County, they fired 1,000 jobs. They got rid of 1,000 jobs just because they put on these stinking automated smart meters. Take Back Your Power by Josh Del Sol. Yes, that is the documentary. It is fantastic. He foresaw everything that's going on. He wrote it about 15 years ago. I mean, or produced it. And he's the speaker in it. He's the narrator in it. Such a good documentary. It's one of my favorites of all time. So the other documentaries that you guys are want to see is Biohack Yourself. Keep an eye out for that. I'm actually in it. They've interviewed over 50 docs for the second one. It should be airing on all the different networks that your cable will pick up. So it's called Biohack Yourself, and really cool. It's going to be all the greatest stuff that you can ever have for your health, and research backing it. All the guys are curated. All of them have been doing some big stuff in the space and helping a lot of people for quite a bit of time. So they have Tom Callan's in that one as well. So they have some really good speakers in it too. So that'll be a cool documentary. So when you're watching programs before you go to bed, that will be some informative ones that you want to watch, because Biohack Yourself, the movie, is going to be a fun one. And I think they're going to air the first bit of it. They'll do a little premiere of it, like just segments of it, tidbits of it, because there's so many speakers in it, and they've done so many different series, but at A4M conference in Las Vegas in December. So check that out. Check out Dr. Charlie Fagenholtz's conference coming up. It's in the trenches. That's in Nashville, Tennessee. Check that one out. Check out Patrick Porter's in Las Vegas. That's coming up at the end of September. And yeah, there's some really good ones coming up, you guys. Dr. Artis is coming up in mid-September in Dallas, Texas. So I'll be at that as well. You guys, so many great conferences and information out there. Dr. Artist, Dr. Artist, Dr. Artist, listen to him. Dr. Charlie Fagenholtz, In the Trenches, listen to him. Dr. Patrick Porter, Brain Types. He actually, Brain Tap, I should say, but he's the binaural beats, audio visual master of that. And he's got an app. You don't even have to buy the product. You just buy the app and pay $29 a month. And I used it. I had a little conflict with somebody at an event with families involved and stuff, and kind of supporting my daughter is how it all started. But had some sleepless nights after it because it was just awful what they were doing. And anyhow, I used this app whenever I couldn't sleep. I was just like, boom, it was downloaded on my phone. I would put the headset in and it helped me through a couple nights where I was waking up like multiple times, like literally every half hour I was waking up. It was kind of a big deal. But these things happen, you guys. Even guys like me, we give our power away and we need the help. So Patrick Porter is Brain Tap. Patrick Porter, Dr. Patrick Porter, Brain Tap. He's one of the biggest keynote speakers for brain entrainment. And yeah, so a lot of crazy stuff going on here, you guys. So when something happens in your world and you need to get back on track, if that's you every night, you got to get on his stuff, and then you got to get the grounding values, and you got to shut off the electricity, and you got to balance your intake so your cortisol levels aren't off. You got to get back into parasympathetic, rest, digest. We got to do a lot with you if you're waking up that much, because that should be really rare. That's like, that's fighting rare for me. Like, it's really rare to get into those states, but again, it happens and we move on. So we gotta figure out how to get back on track, and I did. We got back on track and let the stuff go, cut some of those cords that they're trying to attach, and send them love and light, and forgive myself, forgive all people forgive me, and move on. You guys, this is that current, the emotional current. Okay, we can hang on to it and have fascial adhesions and then get dis-ease several days or months or weeks or years down the road, or we can embrace it, thank you for that learning experience, and then move it on and move it through. Got to move this stuff through. All right, you got to give thanks and gratitude. Yeah, that's the healing pulse here, to move it through. You talk to Gary on any of his fascial maneuvers, he's thinking this, basically, thank you, anger, it's no longer serving me. And you're holding the liver, thank you, thank you, thank you. You didn't know how to process it before, now we do, and we have a better choice. And we breathe. And boom, boom, feels lighter instantly. Super simple stuff, you just have to do it. Get on it, do it. It's a practice that we do every day. It's not just once a day, it's every day, it's multiple times a day. Fascia maneuvers in the morning, fascia maneuvers at night. You guys, it is, Human Garages has the best self-home healing systems I've ever seen in almost 3 decades of working with professional athletes. That's how good this stuff is. So if you're not doing it, you're doing yourself a disservice. Oh, yeah. So again, if you're waking up with bladder stuff, those are nerve resets, and so we got to down-regulate those nerves. So there's reasons the bladder is spasming. So it's probably dehydrated. Get those minerals. Get the diatomaceous earth, iris sea moss. Do your fascial maneuvers down in that area, and start to get rid of those fascial adhesions. So you got to lean in. It's not just one thing, everybody. There's a whole family of different suite of services and products and methods, protocols to help facilitate your healing. It just is. Maybe it's parasites that are triggering that thing. So go through a parasite cleanse with Diane Kaiser. Like, you guys, there's so much stuff. Get on with Alicia and do the iMate, and she'll do some stuff to figure out what's going on there. All right. There's so many different ways. I'm going to give you all the different ways that I've seen that they're the best, they're the most cutting edge that we can ever find, that I found in my years of working to help facilitate healing, not only myself, but my family. And if you didn't know, IMAET is how it's spelled, IMAET. So yeah, my dad got clipped really when I was 7, and so I was looking for some healing stuff to help him. You can read about that in one of my first books. That was my first book, Athleticism. Or you can read about, or we have Grounded by Nature if you want to read about the EMF stressors. But anyhow, you guys, time's up. Happy Friday, everyone, and enjoy your weekend. Sending you infinite love and gratitude. We will see you next week. I appreciate your attention and your awareness. Spread this video, please share it, and that's what we want. We want to spread this out there, because you don't know who's going through something really challenging right now. You just don't know. You don't know unless you share it with them, and that might be the one thing that they've been praying for. It might be the one thing. So, guys, get this information out to everyone. Share this video. So we're gonna go ahead and save this after. Covered a lot of stuff today. I really like this one, even though I was talking the whole time and no one came on with me, but I still liked it, and I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Have a blessed weekend. Have fun. Smile. Get grounded by nature, because that is our nature. We will see you next week.